Hi YouTube, it's Nebros, and I'm back with another reaction video. We're reacting to Rev Says Desu on the Nijisanji incident. This one, I believe, based on the thumbnail, as you can see, I haven't actually watched it. So this one, based on the thumbnail, is regarding the issue with Twisty Amanazako and Aster Arcadia, specifically focusing on Aster Arcadia, I believe. Um, I don't know too much about the situation other than what Rev has previously reported. So um, let's get into it and see what's up.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So we're going to be once again talking about Nijisanji because they have another huge controversy facing them at the moment. So
Day
for those who are
zero.
not super familiar with the VTubing scene, Nijisanji is a very big agency that has a Japanese branch that is very successful and an English branch that is much smaller, that is always filled with controversy. And a lot of that controversy has to do with the management in the way that they are very inconsistent with how they apply their rules and how they treat their talents. If you're one of the people on the inside, you're going to be treated with a lot of favoritism. If you're on the outside and you're not liked by management, they're going to treat you absolutely terribly.
Yeah, I mean that's normal click behavior, I guess, but I don't understand why it would be in a company like Nijisanji. So um, is this part of the whole Japanese xenophobia type thing against Westerners? I don't know. It's food for thought, at least.
And today's story really highlights all of those issues. So, we're going to be talking about Aster Arcadia. And you can
Oh, he
see
protected his
his account
tweets.
is already private. Not a
Yeah.
good sign when you're a Nijisanji Ian liver. Now, Aster has faced a lot of controversy involving really one big accusation. So, about 7 months ago, False ID came out with this video with a whistleblower who we now know is the former Nijisanji Ian liver, Twisty Amanozako.
I'm just going to say it, that model is cute. Um, yeah, not much more to say on that, I guess.
Where she said that there's allegations that Aster was sexually harassing not just Twisty, but other women in the organization, as well as small independent VTubers outside of the organization. Now, this got enough heat that eventually Nijisanji, shortly after, would announce they were doing an investigation looking into not only Aster, but also the whistleblower. Again, we know who she is now. But of course, a lot of time would pass. In fact, it's been 7 months.
Now, I replied to that tweet or quoted it saying that, like, Niji-sanji be like, we investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. I don't know how well that would have aged, but yeah, let's
Since that
continue.
investigation was launched, and there hasn't been a single update. And well, guys, I regret to inform you, it looks like we're not going to get that first cooking stream from Aster that was scheduled for next week. In fact, if he's going to be doing a cooking stream, it might be teaching people how to make prison toilet wine at the rate he's going, because he has been terminated. No, wait, I'm sorry. He is separating from Nijisanji. That's right. You can see the announcement here. And if you are familiar with Nijisanji, you will understand that this is the shortest announcement they've ever made about.
Yeah, so when they did Zion, I think it was, who became Sayu Synchronicity, and Selene Tatsuki, it was this laundry list. Like I think it was, I think there were like 3-page documents detailing what each liver had done that earned them the contract termination. And then this is just like oh, by the way, we're separating. Like, yeah, it's kind of inconsistent.
A talent leaving their agency. So it says announcement regarding Aster Arcadia. We hereby inform you that Aster Arcadia will be separating from Nijisanji Ian as of July 15th, 2025, and will not resume streaming activities. Please refrain from directly contacting our livers about this matter. Thank you for your understanding. So right from the beginning, we have this weak-kneed,
Not sure
pathetic
there's much
statement and use of the
understanding.
term separating, like they're
Mm-hmm.
going through a divorce or
Rev your
something,
hairs in the way.
right? You know what? Let's take a second here and use that term separating. I think the right move would have been to hear what people like Twisty were alleging and then separating Aster from new VTubers, particularly female VTubers, who join the organization.
Okay, but playing devil's advocate here, if the allegations, or rather accusations against Aster Arcadia are true, it might be a matter of legal precedent to keep things out of it, as it may harm any sort of legal case against Aster Arcadia. I'm not sure how it would, but I know that's that it can be a factor. So if I got to play devil's advocate, I'd say that they colored it. They just briefly skimmed over it as a for your information, public. This is what's happening. There might be more going on behind the scenes than we're privy to.
That's what they should have been separating. Also, they probably should have been separating their mouth from Aster Arcadia, because I do not understand the favoritism. They went to bat for this guy so hard, and I just don't understand why Nijisanji just will do anything to protect some of their English talents. And I look at Aster's channel, right? He's been with the company since 2022. He has 300k subs. And you look at his about here, and he's produced 14 million views in 3 years with the company.
Damn.
Now, I say this not to flex or anything like that, but if I joined some sort of organization, they said, Rev, go, try to get as many views as possible, stream on YouTube, do all that, I could probably amass that in a month or two. So I don't understand, again, it's not a flex, I just don't understand why Nijisanji is fighting for their lives to protect someone like this with so much baggage. I just don't get it. They're Japanese brand.
No, I mean, if he's not a particularly great streamer, then based on what Rev just said, then yeah, I can't really understand the favoritism too. Does he have dirt on some Nijisanji bigwigs? I don't know. Seems likely, but I mean, there's other reasons as well.
Branch does not deal with anywhere near the amount of controversy the English branch deals with. In fact, the Japanese branch probably makes about 80% of the revenue. So I don't understand why the EN branch is so dysfunctional. There's so much controversy. Now let's go back to the announcement itself. So there's one thing to really point out here that I already mentioned, that it's such a short announcement regarding someone who's probably one of the most controversial figures to ever come out of their company, right?
Yeah,
Just a few sentences. Normally with Nijisanji, every graduation/retirement announcement/termination announcement comes with a long-winded Twitter post with typically a couple pages of documents to go with it. Let's see some examples. So we have Selene Tatsuki, who was terminated about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I miss Selene. I know she's now Doki Bird, but it's just not the same. I was attracted to, or drawn to Selene rather. Attracted's a bit strong, but I was drawn to Selene because I loved her model.
She was someone who is now returned to her past life account, Doki Bird. You probably heard of her. She was someone who went through a very, very rough time with the company. She spent over $200,000 of her own money to fund projects Nijisanji management refused to do. And she was...
Do you know how wild it is to even be able to say that? Like, I spent over $200,000 of my own money for the... $200,000 is like 4 million of South African rand. Yeah, that's insane. Like, I couldn't even dream. Well, I can dream of it, but I wouldn't know what to do with all that money if I had it. I know it was over time and whatnot, but you get the idea.
Someone who was bullied from within the company to the point of attempting her own life twice, and she would be eventually terminated around the time of those.
I'm glad she didn't succeed in those attempts. I'm sorry that she went through all that and that she felt it was the best way to deal with things. That the only way she felt to escape her problems was to make those attempts, but I'm glad she didn't succeed. She seems to be doing much better these days.
Attempts, because what did she do? She released a music video without full approval from Nijisanji because...
Yeah, look there. 1, 2, 3 page documentation for Selene Tatsuki, and all we got is like a not even 280 character tweet about Aster Arcadia.
They left her basically on red for an extended period of time, and she just got tired and made her music video live. And this was the termination. Remember, she's a victim in this situation, but she was terminated, not separated with, terminated for this song's release. And she got not only this statement here, she got 3 pages. 3 pages of statements, which is completely ridiculous.
What does it say? We hereby announce that we have had to make the difficult decision to terminate our contract with Nijisanji, Ian, Liver, Selen, Tatsuki, effective immediately due to repeated breaches of our contract and misleading statements on social platforms. Attached is a detailed explanation of the circumstances that led to this decision being taken. Thank you for your understanding. Yeah, so, like, I mean, it's 3 pages, man.
When you think about Aster Arcadia getting just a brief paragraph, on top of that, they got so upset about the backlash that they received because of that termination that they brought 3 of their biggest talents on the English branch together to do a black screen live stream where they basically just threw her under the bus. They made up complete lies about her. And even if
I listened to that and I was like, I don't believe any of it, man. And it does Selene a huge disservice that they did this and she can't even be there to defend herself. So, not that it mattered at that point, but, you know, if you're going to if you're going to do that sort of thing, it's just in bad taste, man. It's a terrible, terrible look.
Admitted that they had access to her medical records for some reason. And as you can see, didn't go over well. 33,000 likes versus 179,000 dislikes.
Rev, how do you see the dislikes? Because I can't find the Google Chrome add-on that does that. It's weird.
And the funniest thing is, the cowards at Nijisanji management, they couldn't even release it on their official channel. Instead, they made one of their talents, Alira Pandora, release it on her channel, and in the process, she lost nearly 100,000 subs as a result. In fact, she was well over 600,000, and here we are, about 2 years later, and she still is at 523. That was the damage done to her account, but I can't feel sorry for her because she was one of the people who threw Doki Bird under the bus.
Yeah, well, if I was Alira Pandora, I wouldn't have agreed to have done it in the first place, and in the second place, if I was then forced, I would have then, you know what? No, I have integrity. Not doing that. It's going to cost me subscribers, and I'd rather just, if this is what the company does, then I need a better company to work for.
In the statement. And let's move on to another example. Zion Lanza. She has returned to her past life account as well and had great success as Sayu. Now, she was someone who was terminated after 3 months with the company. Just 3 months, but she got all of this. This was her termination with a long list, basically treating her like a war criminal.
Yeah, slight note of embarrassment for me is that when I saw this, bear in mind I was pretty much a neophyte, tourist coming into it. Not really a tourist, but it was the first time I was really exposed to the sort of politics of VTubing. I'm still no expert, but I read this and I was like, you know what, if Zion did all that, she had the opportunity, she screwed it up, and she deserves the contract termination. I was not super vocal, but I did side with Nijisanji in the end, and then when Selen Tatsuki was terminated from Nijisanji, I started putting 2 and 2 together, and so I deeply regret having sided with Nijisanji against Zion here. And if she ever finds this, I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart, I really am sorry. I didn't realize what you were actually going through. And if what Zion went through is half as bad as what Selene went through, you know what? It's not anything that anyone should actually have to go through in the first place. So, especially not for where you work and how you earn your living.
All of these reasons were included for her termination. They did all this for someone who was with the company for 3 months. In fact, there's a very interesting section right here. Offensive remarks regarding discrimination and sexual, or SA. You can't say that phrase on YouTube. They really don't like it. But offensive remarks regarding discrimination and SA. And in her case, no, this did not involve allegations involving real people or anything like that. It was comments she made about a fictional character that was just assaulted in a video game.
Oh, man.
And when that happened, they threw the hammer down on her instantly. But Aster, they just part ways and don't even give a reason as to why. And here's the final example I'm going to give. We already mentioned Twisty Amanozako. She was the whistleblower sharing the allegations that include not only alleged sexual harassment she received, but also other people in the company received, and also some people outside of the company received. She was given a very short termination announcement about a month ago, and they refer to instances of discriminatory speech. That's now 2 people in this video who had this standard used against them to terminate them. And this had to deal with a now deleted and re-uploaded leaked call from Discord where she said some edgy, controversial stuff, and they used this.
Okay, what she said in the video I thought was pretty bad and beyond the pale, but I got the sense, and this isn't excusing or justifying it, just really, it could be what she said with the frame of mind that I got the impression she was in. It can be understood if not condoned. And, she'd been with the company for a short time. She'd already been put on notice as far as I can tell. And, she was kind of fed up. And I got the impression that at that time she didn't really actually care too much what happened. In addition, the call was supposed to be a private Discord call, and when you're in a private Discord call with 2 of your friends, there is an expectation of privacy. So I don't think she was expecting that to ever be leaked, and so of course you're going to speak your mind when you're with friends, right?
As an excuse to fire her, because they couldn't fire her for being a whistleblower. This came out and they said, here's our opportunity, let's fire her, and that's what they did. So another person who was an alleged victim being terminated, not separated from the company, terminated. And a lot of people looked at the reasons she was terminated as well as Sayu/Zion, and they go, what about Uki Violetta?
Oh yeah,
Violetta is someone who is also a favorite in the company, who gets very preferential treatment. And as you can see right here, he has a long history of saying things like, white men, straight white men, are irresponsible and selfish. There was no response for that one, no investigation, no statement, no nothing. In fact, there is a
well, because it's dunking on the correct group of people this time.
6-minute long compilation of Uki Violetta saying quote-unquote jokes about white people. Nothing's ever happened to him. What happened to those that standard of discriminatory statements? What?
Well, because when the accepted narrative is that you can't be discriminatory or racist towards white people, why would they apply that standard? It's nonsense, because the argument that I make is that if anybody turned around and said, I hate white people, right? And I think Uki Violetta has said it before. If the statement is, I hate white people, if all I have to do to change it, if all I have to do in order to make it a racist statement is change just one word, that being white to black, then it's a racist statement in and of itself. You don't need context, you don't need historical precedent, you don't need any of that crap. It is simply a racist statement, regardless of who the target is.
What happened to that? It doesn't apply because he's one of the favorites. Now, going back to the original statement once again, here's Aster's statement, and you probably wonder, why now? Why are they doing this after 7 months of this investigation?
I guess they actually found some validity, and you can say that with a whistleblower, it's just a matter of optics. It's basically CYA, cover your ass. But it could be deeper than that. Like I said earlier, there could be more going on behind the scenes than we know.
Months of inactivity on his accounts. Why are they doing this now? Well, the theory out there, the one I agree with greatly, is that Aster Arcadia's contract probably ran out. And they're using this opportunity to say, well, we can't renew with you, so let's just part ways. And they do that to have this
that could also be
language. Yeah. They're separating because the contract ran out. There's no actual foul move on anyone's part that they're citing here. They're just saying the contract ran out and we agree to go separate ways. That way Nijisanji doesn't have to talk about the investigation or anything else or give a reason. They can just say they separated, they parted ways because the contract ran out
I guess.
and they didn't want to continue, and both parties amicably walked away. That was a very sneaky move, and one that I'm pretty confident was the reason that they did this. Now let's take a look at some of the...
Yeah, I suppose that could be the reason. I'd like to think that there was actually something to the accusations and that there's more going on. That seems a more positive, at least not positive for Aster, but that seems a more positive outlook.
Quotes and replies, because nobody's having this. Even some of the stronger
Nijisanji here we go.
Who normally blindly support the company no matter what, they got an issue. But let's look at some people just roasting this statement. Beginning with Mugen,
let's go.
Saying Japanese airlines profits plunge 95% now that their biggest customer has stopped flying out, trying to fly fans to meet him in a hotel room.
That's bad. Yeah,
that was kind of his one bolt in the chamber type move. That was it. If you see the conversations and the things alleged, that's pretty much what you do. You approach a smaller talent who claimed they were a fan of his, and you'd be like, yeah, you're a big fan of me, huh? Big fan of me, huh? Let me fly out to Japan, and we can share a room together. And it's like, oh, okay. And then when you get rejected, he would get very angry and start like really getting hostile. Which, by the way, this is pretty much the only time in my life I've unironically used the phrase incel. This is a guy who doesn't really know how to talk to women, and he's trying to exercise, allegedly,
he's a VTuber, of course he doesn't.
His status
I'm
joking. To get them to do things for him. And when he gets rejected, he flips out. He gets angry. I mean, that's an actual a fair use of the phrase incel.
Yeah.
Unlike, all the people on Twitter who use it to describe anyone they dislike. This seems like an actually appropriate way to describe
Casey Tron, we're looking at you.
But here's a comment from Parrot. Oh, poor Parrots. Saying they actually just waited for my video to come out to finish the job. Well, back to the mines, dude. You need to farm once again because they always have the worst timing for you, unfortunately. Here's Rima saying we want the investigation results, saying release the Aster files. Yeah, let's release the Epstein files while we're at it. What a terrible situation. But yeah, this is kind of the sentiment.
Just one thing. I like his model, actually. That's not a bad color scheme. He looks pretty cool. Well, the model anyway.
A lot of people are saying, so if you're going to do this, we want to see what's going on with this investigation. Nobody's going to forget what happened with this. You can't launch this big investigation and then separate with this talent and act like, oh, well, okay, that's over. No, people are going to be
just
asking
sweeping it under the rug,
fact,
honestly.
They're going to be asking even harder now. There's literally no reason not to share this stuff. He's not with the company anymore. But anyways, here's another one from Legal Mindset saying, terminated him the same day I stopped by the Nijisanji building. Coincidence? He's not joking. Here he is aura farming in front of the Nijisanji headquarters in Japan. Absolutely mogged this company.
I hate you. I'd give my left eye to go to Japan. Take me with you next time.
Pretty quick. But here's another one saying, I wish I still had my Niji EN merch so I could set it on effing fire.
No, don't set your old merch on fire. Don't throw it away. Donate it to charity. Do something good with it, man. Like, the people you're donating it to don't need to know the context behind, like, so if Aster Arcadia is an actual predator and you got an Aster plushie, they don't need to know that. Have this cute model, have this cute plushie, don't set it on fire. What a waste.
Has to be blocked. They probably don't want to listen to anything I'm saying, but don't burn merch. I've always said
what do you say?
EN merch so I could set it on effing fire. Okay, this person has to be blocked. They probably don't want to listen to anything I'm saying, but don't burn merch. I've always said this. If you want to get rid of stuff for someone you don't like anymore or a company you don't like anymore, you should consider donating it, because if someone's in need, especially with clothing that comes from a company, they're not going to care if there's some disgraced weirdo on the hoodie.
Yeah, okay? Exactly.
If they're cold, they
want
a
just
hoodie,
say?
Right?
Not pre-watched, by the way. You can see that.
In need. I don't think they care about the plushie, like where it came from, okay?
Or who it is.
That's something good you can do. Donate it. Don't burn merch.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's a very smart decision to do. Here's another one saying, so, like, can I claim his design now? No. Well, maybe, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. I don't know why you would want to have the likeness of Aster Arcadia.
I mean, it's a
But then
cool
you have this,
design.
the Niji sisters, I'll say, are trying
Yeah.
to stop the community notes. So people in the notes are trying to provide context as to why this is a very fishy and complicated situation. And yeah, you can see in the no note needed section, this is the section of the notes where you dispute proposed notes, where you say that note's not necessary because of X, Y, or Z. And they're fighting for their lives in the no notes needed section, saying everything's abuse of the community notes, and this can't be based on vague or uncertain information. And post does not hide or dispute, because people are saying this is trying to hide results of the investigation. But some of the proposed notes, they're trying to add context that there's an investigation, that there was allegations from former talents, and it gives additional context as to why this whole separating of these parties is very suspicious.
Okay, so I get it. There's more details are warranted, but like I said, there could be many different reasons as to why they haven't. And I just find it's a lot of energy dedicated to stuff that at the end of the day doesn't really matter too much. I mean, yeah, it matters if Aster Arcadia is a sex pest and a predator and whatnot, but um, do I necessarily want to bend myself and twist myself in knots trying to figure out if it's true or not? No. I just want, like, I can now no longer watch his content in the first place, not that I did. And so it doesn't make any difference. It's a lot of energy that I would be putting in to something that I don't really care too much about. I hope he gets justice for if he is a sex pest, and I hope that there's justice finds him and whatnot. But and he should be held accountable. He should be called to task. But um, there's nothing I can do personally. So and not much that anybody else who's going through this level of effort here can do. So it's a little bit weird. Um, I think there's better things to devote your efforts to. The decision's been made that Aster is going to be separating from the company. There's probably more to it than we know. So I mean that's good enough for me.
Now the memes are already coming out. You can see you'll expect this to happen when you ask Nijisanji about their investigation into Aster from now on.
What
Where basically they're going to say, "Are you?"
what I expect will happen when you ask Nijisanji about their investigation into Aster from tomorrow on. I used to. Oh.
That we'll talk about Aster Arcadia, because this is probably what's going to happen. They think they can wash their hands of this, and whether or not something comes of the investigation or not, well, they promised they were going to give updates, and they've given none. Like not even like, oh, they'll be
Yeah.
coming to a close soon, or we got some sort of nothing, not a tiny grain of update, and even in the announcement of the separation, they never mentioned the investigation. They could have said we're separating ways, but also the investigation continues on.
Yeah.
They didn't do that
I mean, they could have. Yeah.
because they thought they could get away with this. And I got really bad news for them. I
Well,
don't think people are going to forget so easily. But anyways, that is the situation involving Aster Arcadia and the allegations against him and his now separation from the company. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
yeah. So they're just chugging it. They're just sweeping it under the rug. This Aster Arcadia situation, the separation, that's just them sweeping it under the rug. So with that done, I'm gonna call it a night. It's kind of late. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to check my links in the description. Link to the original video will be down below. Give Rev a like and a follow if you actually like his content. Don't go around harassing him if you don't, because that's kind of weird. And if you don't like avocado, you don't eat avocado, right? But you're not trying to get avocado cancelled either. So just be normal, chill out, take things slow. Check my links, get 10% off your poggers for fuel that hits harder than excuses and energy without the crash. Get poggers at 10% off using the codes. That'll be linked down below. Until next time, see ya.